Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games, where strategy meets laughter and engine building doesn't require rods and pistons. In this episode...
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait. You're not James.
I am not James. That is correct.
Gasp.
I'm JK.
And I'm Emily.
And I'm Dwayne.
And hey, folks, James actually couldn't be here to record today's episode, but we're going to carry on just like this is any other old show. We're going to do a little bit of bantering here between us for a second, talk about some things, as well as play a game together on the show. So first off, how's your week been, guys?
It's been pretty good. How about you, Dwayne?
I haven't had as much gaming as I'd like to get in this week, but it's been okay.
Yeah. I did some gaming over the weekend. I got to play the new version of Skyrise, which just came out on Kickstarter. It's pretty. That's no surprise for a game for me. Haven't decided yet whether I really liked it or not. I think it kind of got a good overall impression from everybody that was playing. And we enjoyed it, but we're not committed to it. I will say this, though. I got to do something really, really cool today.
And what did you get to do?
I got to go see the new location of Ivy Studios, which is a game manufacturer here in Nashville. They have recently moved to a new building. They're in the process of renovating it. We, as Gleeful Meeple, the gaming group, are going to be partnering with them to help showcase some of their games at some of our events. So I went and picked up copies of everything that they have available. As well as we'll I'm sure talk about them on the podcast at some point. But what was really cool, they still have some work to do. They're renovating right now, but they are eventually planning on putting a game room in there where they can host some gaming events. They mentioned that one of our former partner venues that we used to hang out at, Harding House, is actually going to be providing the beer for their venue. So that's going to be a fun little environment.
I miss Harding House. It was first of all, our first Friday venue ever, which was really nice that anybody would let us come hang out on a Friday. But they tried really hard. Their beer was great. They were always coming up with new craft cocktails. So I miss those guys, and I'm glad to hear that they're still around in some way.
Yeah, they had a cool room. They had a fairly small venue, but they had the benefit of having a nice big outdoor patio area that they could roll up garage doors and kind of open it up. Made it challenging for us during the winter months when it got a little colder. We had far too many people, I think, for their indoor room. So next time you are at one of our events, ask us to play one of the Ivy Studios games. We are going to have Moonrakers, Fractured Sky, Veiled Fate, and what's the other one? Mystic Mischief. Looking forward to learning all those. They look wonderful. They are all beautiful games. I can't wait to get the rule books under my belt and figure out how to play these so I can teach everybody as well.
What is that?
What was that?
Is someone calling on the Glee Phone? Hold on, I have to find it. It's in here somewhere.
We have a Glee Phone.
All right, I got. Hello?
Cheers. Yes. Is this Gleeful Meeple, the podcast?
It is.
Hello. My name's Aaron.
Hey,
Hi, Aaron. You've kind of got us while we're on recording. What's going on?
I just wanted to call in and ask a question if I could.
Of course,
right.
yeah.
What's your question, Aaron?
Yeah. I've enjoyed the show. Long time listener, first time caller. And I'm wondering. I haven't heard any of you speak yet to your experience in role playing games, just board games. Are any of you role playing games aficionados?
I wouldn't say I'm an aficionado, but I will take advantage of the moment to talk about some of my favorite role-playing games. Emily, I can fill up a moment or two. Do you have any role-playing experience?
Well, Dwayne, there was this one role-playing board game at Gen Con last year that I hopefully am still on their email list. I thought it was going to release last year, and I'm kicking myself that I don't remember the name. But I'm fairly new to role-playing games myself. Like, I haven't played any true RPGs, but I feel like I've played kind of like role-player-esque board games.
Okay.
One that you introduced me to, Too Many Bones.
Too Many Bones is a very there's some good role-playing mechanics. Feels a little more like a role-playing video game than a board game. But
that makes a good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I've seen you set that up and play it, but I've never
You've got to
in it.
join
It's
us.
massive.
You've got to join us,
Yeah.
JK. So I will take this opportunity to talk about one of my favorite role-playing games, which is Paranoia. I learned about Paranoia originally when I was in high school. It's been through several revisions, changed company hands a few times. But Paranoia is, if you think Orwell's 1984, but in a slapstick comedy, that is Paranoia in a nutshell. When you start the game, you don't roll up one character, you roll up a 6-pack of clones, because you will probably die during the mission briefing and need a backup clone to go in. My favorite Paranoia experience is last year at Gen Con. I got to play with a game master who every year creates a Star Trek meets Paranoia kind of mashup. And I was playing as a Captain Janeway, and we went to alternate dimensions. And the way he set it up was the characters were meeting the actors that played them in different shows. So since Captain Janeway is played by Kate Mulgrew.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad I got that right. When I had to meet my Mirror Universe counterpart, it was her character from Orange is the New Black.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And in the end, we ended up like...
Isn't she like a Russian mobster in there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was really neat. And in the end of that one, we ended up on the California highways with Chips helping us fight Goliath from Knight Rider. And I think BJ and the Bear was in there for some reason. It was, for a pulp culture nerd, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. So yeah, we definitely do have some role playing experience.
Yeah, I've played role playing games since I was a kid. I think I actually had like the original Dungeons and Dragons box.
The red box, red box for the win.
No, even before that.
Wow,
going way back, even before it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. I just had the Dungeons and Dragons box. I've always been a player. And I've done, I think, Marvel superheroes. I think DC had one as well for a while.
When you say Marvel superheroes, you mean the TSR?
Yeah, yeah. That was a great set.
I learned everything that I know about Marvel comics originally from the X-Men.
Oh, wow.
From the X-Men, there was a big box,
guidebook,
the Children of the Atom. Huh. Oh my gosh, took me through everything I need to know up to where I was currently reading.
Okay. I've never until recently been a dungeon master or a moderator. I've really just kind of dipped my toes into that within the last 5 years. Never felt really confident enough in knowing the rules enough to guide other people through the game, but have always been a player. I don't know if I could feel confident enough to talk about RPGs on the show to know whether I'm that level expert yet. Maybe James is. I don't know. This might be a bad time for him not to be here. Anyway, back to what we were talking about in the first place. Oh, Jesus.
What is... I don't know how this is possible. We have a queue of calls?
I guess we should answer them.
Yeah, let's pick up.
So our producer says our next caller is from North Texas. Hello, you're on the Gleeful Meeple podcast.
Yep. This is Beauregard.
Hey, Beauregard. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about your show. I've enjoyed listening thus far. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
I think everyone is a first-time caller today.
There's no need to sass me, young man. I do want to bring up that there is an element missing from your show. I do appreciate your opinions, and I appreciate your discussion over these games. But
okay.
I want to point out that you have talked about not one but two games that take place in France, and not one but two games that take place in space. And I want to know when you people are going to start talking about games that take place right here in America.
All right, Beauregard, you are correct. We have had two games in France. And now I'm forgetting what our other game in space was.
We had Space Base, and then we had Terraforming Mars.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Terraforming Mars in space?
I think it is space.
Yeah,
I think
I guess
Mars
so.
is technically space. That's right. Let's see. What American games? Dwayne, what are some
Monopoly,
of
of course. But
yeah,
we're never going to talk about Monopoly.
We didn't speak very well about Monopoly. I don't think
That's
Bo was going to be very
true.
happy with our discussion on that.
What about Vegas?
Oh, Vegas. A couple of games in Vegas. There was
There
Las
are some.
Vegas, originally by Ravensburger, which is a nice little dice placement game.
Yeah.
And then there's Lords of Vegas, which I'm not familiar with, but I feel like I should play. I mean, we could do an episode on Vegas games alone. There's Vegas
That is
Showdown,
true.
the auction game.
And then
I don't know, a
JK.
whole show based on Vegas games, that's a heck of a gamble.
Oh.
I guess we'll just have to roll the dice on that one.
Oh, no. What is happening?
Beauregard, I would also highly recommend going out and trying Great Western Trail, which is a game that is, if you're from North Texas, I'm sure you're familiar with cows and steer. That is going to be a game about migrating cows across America to the shipping point where they go to the cows go to heaven section, I think. It's a slaughterhouse. I don't want to bring our listeners down.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Back to Ticket to Ride. That spans the entire U.S., and we've talked about their publisher a little bit on our show, Days of Wonder.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride, the base game takes place in America. They do have additional expansions that take place all throughout the world. Although they have had an expansion, I think that is specifically focused on Pennsylvania for some reason. I don't know if that's a hotbed for trains. Dwayne and I recently got to work our way through the Legacy edition of Ticket to Ride, which we learned this morning has actually been nominated for the Kennerspiel DRS.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I certainly hope that one wins because I'd never heard of the two games that it was in competition with. So, oh, God, there's more of these.
All right. Our next caller is from somewhere in the Northeast America.
Hey, it's Donnie.
Hi, Donnie.
Hi, Donnie.
Hey. Y'all, you can play the COD games. You do the COD games a lot.
The COD games.
COD games.
I think he means card games.
Oh,
too.
I was like, I don't think I've played any games about fish like that. Okay, card.
COD.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about him? What about the
you
card
don't.
games?
You do not talk about Magic.
Magic. Yes. Magic the Gathering. That is a blind spot for me. I don't have any experience there. Dwayne, what about you?
I first learned about Magic the Gathering when I was working at Blockbuster Video in 1993.
Dwayne, wait, hold on. What's Blockbuster Video?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
we
Emily.
can't go that deep down the rabbit
I'm
hole.
kidding.
So for board games, you have us. For everything else, there is Wikipedia. So a customer that I knew pretty well, knew I was into comics and stuff, he came in and he says, hey, played this new game called Magic. You have to give it a try. I'm like, what's it like? You are casting spells and they become creatures and you've got mana and you're attacking your opponent. Awesome. I went out and bought a deck. Trying to teach yourself how to play Magic back in the early 90s before I knew how to access the internet was difficult. And it took me about a year to find a group of friends who actually played. We kind of struggled through it together on our own. Played for a few years here and there. Unfortunately, my experience with Magic players has been a little... They don't mesh with my personality type very well because I go into a game to have fun and they go in to completely wipe the floor with their opponents.
No.
But eventually it got around to my daughter, and my daughter is now a huge fan of Magic the Gathering. She plays every Wednesday at our local comic shop, Outer Limits. And it still has a very vibrant life among its fans.
Do you remember ballpark what edition you started out in?
Yes, it was revised, which I think is 3rd edition.
Okay.
So right after the beta, right after all the real money cards had left the market.
I got into it. Magic is kind of a tough spot for me. I got into it at beta, so I do have a couple of the 2nd edition cards. Unfortunately, none of the big ticket items. But started playing through revised through Ice Age.
I remember Ice Age.
Ice Age was really good. Not long after that, I think Visions and Mirage were, I think, the next 2 sets that came out after that, and that was when I tapped out. I had,
so to speak.
Yeah, I had a very good fun. I had, again, a local comic shop that also dabbled in Magic cards. They turned me on to it. Really loved the game, and we had some good core group of players that played there. We did a couple booster drafts while I was there. It was a lot of fun, but then I realized if I was going to stay competitive, I had to continually over and over again buy these $100 boxes of cards or whatever it was at the time and hope that I got the good cards out of that mix. There's no guarantee for that. So I have a bit of a personality flaw, believe it or not. I do have personality flaws. Yeah. One of them is that I'm an absolute completionist. And if I buy something that has a possible complete set, I will drive and drive and drive at it until I get all of them. And that's not a good thing for Magic the Gathering. You get the cards you get, and then you kind of have to be happy with that.
There's a meme on like Instagram or just like among the socials where it's like, oh, how do you play Magic the Gathering? And then it's just like a GIF of someone swiping a card.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Across like a POS
accurate.
card scanner.
Yeah. So somewhere in the bowels of my closet, there are thousands of cards still sitting in a box.
So I did not realize that you have been playing that we both started somewhere around the same time. Did you ever get into any of the slew of collectible card games that came out in the mid-90s?
Yes.
All right.
So
tell me some of the favorite ones.
Jihad, which was the collectible card game based around Vampire the Masquerade.
I am going to make a strong statement. It is Richard Garfield's better game.
Ooh. Okay.
And I'll go one further and say Netrunner, also a Richard Garfield game, even better than Jihad and Magic.
Would you like an embarrassing JK fact
I would.
that you guys probably
Always.
don't know?
Tell me more.
The back of the Jihad cards had this really nice symbol, and it was kind of an Ouroboros, where it was three snakes kind of intertwined, eating each other's tails. In the late 90s, I at some point decided I wanted to get my first tattoo. And I really couldn't make up my mind what I wanted. I initially kind of focused on band logos or things like that I thought would be cool. But I know how my brain works. I figured if I put a Pearl Jam tattoo on my body somewhere in a year, I'm not going to like Pearl Jam anymore, and then I'm stuck with the tattoo. So I kind of tricked myself into this. I took one of the Jihad cards and I tucked it into my wallet, and I said, I am going to get this snake logo tattooed on me in 1 year if this card is still in my wallet and I still decide that's what I want. It made it through the wallet for the entire year. And so on New Year's Eve, 1999, I went out and got a tattoo in the small of my back. So, yes, I do have a triple snake tramp stamp in my lower back.
Very nice. I actually knew you had that tattoo. I did not realize that it was from Jihad.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, like the whole time you're telling the story, I was like, I don't think I've seen this tattoo.
Yeah, no, not. I don't break that out too often.
Sounds like you need to go swimming with JK more often.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Producer is telling me we have a caller from Seattle. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm good, thanks.
Who are we talking to today?
I don't want to give my name.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead and go along with your question.
Okay. I heard you talking about the card sleeves. You put the card sleeves on your game, and I don't know what that is. Is that like a shirt sleeve? Or if not, how do you know what kind of sleeves to get for your games?
Oh, this is actually a really good question. I'm glad you called Sleeveless in Seattle? Okay.
I don't find that funny.
I am no stranger to that kind of comment on my humor. So let's talk a little bit about card sleeves. There is a great Emily, walk us through what card sleeves are a little bit.
Card sleeves are...
They're not plastic. They're not latex.
Are they not plastic?
I don't think they're I don't know what you consider them.
Oh my goodness, we don't know what all these things are
you
laying
serious?
around our house.
We don't know what the card sleeves are made of. Keep talking. I'm looking it up.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, their function, at least
Sure.
we can go with that. Any game that you own that has cards, they basically just protect the cards. It helps kind of make them last longer. One time we had a friend spill some water at the table and ended up being fine because the water got onto the sleeve. So it just protects the life of the cards.
Trading card sleeves are made of a high-quality, hard PVC material.
I was going to say PVC, and that felt so wrong, but I was like, I know I've seen that on packaging. Okay, yeah.
Is PVC not plastic?
PVC is printed plastic. It is
Okay.
It is either polypropylene or polyethylene.
We're getting real scientific with this answer.
It is.
Yeah.
But with card sleeves, you can get either very, very thin sleeves that are going to offer minimal protection, or you can really thicken out the card sleeve, something that's going to last for a long time. If you have a high-end game with really nice cards that you know you're going to be shuffling and dealing a lot, it's not a bad idea to get those to protect them long term.
Or even like a game that makes it to the table quite frequently.
Yeah.
I have some pretty strict rules about sleeving my games.
Do you?
One is if it is something that is out of print, it's going to get sleeved.
Okay.
If it is a deck builder, it's going to get sleeved. And that is a very practical reason, because in deck builders, you have your starter decks that you will play every game, and then you have other cards that you bring in, usually randomly. Sometimes you can set up what you want to. The issue, if you don't sleeve those cards, is your starter cards start to really show the wear, and as you're playing, you can kind of tell when a starter card is going to come up. That's probably not going to bother most people, but I play solo
Dwayne,
so
the
much.
card counter.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of gonna think about that if I see what's coming up. That's gonna play a role in my decision making process, even though I don't really want it to. So I tend to sleeve those. I will, and if you have never sleeved cards before, I will go ahead and say this: when you go look for sleeves, you will usually find companies who make sleeves usually have their cheaper sleeves and their premium sleeves. Yeah. Premium sleeves a little thicker, a little heavier, but the other thing is they shuffle so much better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell this cautionary tale. I play a lot of Legendary, Marvel's Legendary. I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 Legendary cards. During the pandemic of 2020, I decided to sleeve all of them, and to save money, I sleeved them in the cheaper sleeves. I played 3 games with it, and I was like, I hate what I have done.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Eventually, Sleeve Kings had a Kickstarter for their premium sleeves. I bought the premium sleeves, and I unsleeved 5,000 cards from the cheap sleeves and have started re-sleeving them with the good ones, and it actually changed how frequently I played Legendary because I liked it so much better.
Yeah. No, that's a friend and I play Clank a lot, and it's a deck building game, so you're shuffling every turn or like every time, multiple times a game. And so yeah, he started out with like some of the cheaper sleeves, and apparently I shuffle aggressively. So every time I played, the seams would just like split open. So we would always have to keep replacing the cheap sleeves. Finally, he upgraded to some of the like the Clank premium sleeves. They're real nice. And great, way better shuffling experience.
Caller, one of the frustrations you may find with sleeves is that there is a lot of inconsistency among board games as to what size of card you have.
Yes.
Thankfully, most of the game sleeve manufacturers do have sleeves that cover the gamut for just about every size that's imaginable. The best thing I can tell you is to have something that gives you a measurement in millimeters, because that will tell you specifically what those card sizes look like. I think it's even Mayfair Games that does sleeves, that even has a little game mat that's really nice that you can put the card on and it lines out exactly which of their sleeves you want.
There's also a fantastic website, sleeveyourgames.com. You go in, you enter what game you're trying to sleeve, which expansions for that game you're trying to sleeve, and it will give you not only the size, it will give you recommended manufacturers and the count for the number of sleeves you need for that particular game. Which is super convenient, especially if it's something like in the Arkham Horror vein where there's multiple cards of different sizes. It will tell you everything you need to get that game sleeved. And I think BGG has integrated a lot of this on their website as well.
Okay. There are a couple games in my collection that I would love to sleeve. The games that jump out in mind are Aquatica and Lacrimosa. Unfortunately, I haven't quite figured this out yet. Their cards are interactive with the boards they are on. They kind of slot in the board and slide up. And I haven't figured out whether sleeves are going to impact that or not.
I have actually read forums about sleeving Lacrimosa.
Really?
That. Yeah. And if you get a very specific manufacturer brand, some of them fit a little tighter. Even if you go to sleevemygame.com, it will be like, one manufacturer might be 46.5 millimeter sleeves, and the other one is 45 millimeter sleeves, and that little bit of difference will give you a tighter fit.
Bear in mind, if you listen to our last episode, there are a lot of game organizers that are set to unsleeved cards, and if you go through and sleeve your collection, you may suddenly find that those cards no longer fit. That's a huge frustration of mine. And just for sheer storage as well, Dwayne, I just recently unsleeved everything in my Marvel United collection. I had sleeved every card.
Whoa.
I've gone back and said, nope, I'm going to take them all out, because I think with a third edition coming in that's adding in something like 1,076 more cards, I don't want that sleeved. I don't think I'm going to see any one card enough to shuffle it enough to make it that damaging.
Yeah, that's a very good point for that game. All right. Seattle, we hope we answered your question.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for calling.
Hopefully we're not done.
All right. My producer is telling me that our next call is from the phone in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi. How can we help you? What's going on?
Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh,
We're getting a lot of that.
I need to ask you something. My mom won't tell me the answer.
Okay.
What happened to my hamster?
I don't know. Tell us more a little bit about your hamster.
She said it went to the multiverse.
Oh, I see. That's probably a longer conversation than we're ready for today.
But just know that the multiverse is vast and that your hamster is having a good time.
And your hamster loves you very much.
He's dead, isn't he?
Well, we've got another call.
All right. Our next caller is from not Nashville, Laverne.
Yes, this is Laverne. How y'all doing today?
Oh, I thought she was from Laverne.
No, not from Laverne. This is Laverne.
Where are you from, Laverne?
Smyrna.
Fair enough. Okay.
I wanted to know, I hear you talking about legacy games a lot, and my concern with the legacy game is that you play through it once, and then you have a broken game you can't play anymore because you've torn up cards and torn up things and put stickers on the board. And what do you do with these games other than use them as a doorstop?
Okay, fair question. And that is a pretty common complaint with legacy games. But my view on that is that you're paying for an experience. So some experiences are replayable and some aren't. Fortunately, I think a lot of game manufacturers of legacy games have taken this to heart, and many of them that I've played recently, I'm thinking of the Ticket to Ride, like Legends of the West, and the Machikoro legacy game. When you finish, what you have left is your own very customized version of that game. That being said, they don't tend to come off the shelf that much once they're played, but there is some replayability in some of the legacy games. So I would recommend, if you're on the fence about it, pick one up, see what you think about it. Maybe it's worth the investment for you, maybe it's not.
I like the idea that you said about it being more about the experience than the game itself. And I guess the analogy that comes to mind for me is growing up, I played a lot of soccer. And when you play a season of soccer, if you do well at the end, you get a trophy. You don't get to play that season of soccer again. That's one and done. But you've got that trophy that represents the hard work that you went through over the course of the year. And you can maybe look at that trophy and kind of reflect back on the fun you had during those experiences. I've only played a few legacy games. I made it most of the way through Pandemic Season 1. And then for whatever reason, my wife just ran out of steam and didn't finish the game. Made it through Legends of the West with Ticket to Ride, which I think the wise move we made there. Mark, the player that bought the game, actually gifted it to the player that won. So not only did he have his trophy, but he had his own customized playable version
really
of Ticket to
nice.
Ride. I thought that was really cool.
Nice. Dwayne, you did Sagrada Legacy?
I did, yeah. Sagrada Artisans is kind of nice. It is, because it is based around having sheets to color, they actually do have refill packs. You don't go back and really play through the legacy version, the campaign again, but you do get to go back and revisit some of the different window designs they have. And the nice thing about the filler packs is they have brand new window designs too. I can't rave about that. If you have someone in your life who loves coloring, because I know coloring is a very meditative thing for some people. If you have someone who loves coloring, please check out Sagrada Artisans. It is really, really well done.
Yeah, I haven't played a legacy game yet, but I am hoping to join this soon.
Thanks for calling. And another call.
Another call.
Where's this one coming from, Emily?
All right, this is coming from Beijing, China.
Hello, caller. How are you?
Hello?
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 Hello? I think he hung up.
Oh. Well, we have more callers.
Okay.
So, this one appears to be from Springfield, Illinois.
Hello.
Hi.
I want to talk about something you guys don't talk about on the show so much.
Caller, who is this?
My name's Mo.
Mo from Springfield. Do you run a bar?
No.
Oh, unfortunate.
Oh,
So
okay.
close.
So close.
I hear you talking about cardboard and board games and card sleeves and all this stuff, and I have not heard you once mention video games. So when are you going to talk about video games at any time soon?
That is a great question. And who gave you access to our podcasting notes? I just want to know.
Why? Is that in our notes? Were we going to talk about that at some point?
Yeah, I'm hoping to.
I am not a good authority on video games to speak about.
But there are some video games that have, or board games that have video game mechanics or
I
qualities.
have a follow-up question for JK. JK, what I want to make sure I heard. What did you just say?
I think I said I don't play video games.
Like you're not an authority? How many video game titles do you have?
Well, okay. So let's revisit that statement. I do have an arcade cabinet that has about 4,000 games on it.
All legally owned.
All legally owned.
Only
yes.
4,000.
Yes. It is predominantly Nintendo, original Nintendo, as well as any arcade release that came out in the 80s. I guess when I say I'm not a video gamer, I'm talking more modern era.
Okay, fair enough. So, of course, being a child of the '80s, I grew up in all arcades. So a lot of fondness for that period of video games. I still play some of the modern stuff, but I'd much rather just queue up an emulator and play some old school arcade games.
Yeah, I've tried. I had an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, the Xbox One. My son is a bit more of a PlayStation advocate. We have a Switch at home. I have tried. I've loaded up some games. I've bought them. I've gotten really jazzed up to play them, and maybe I hit the ground running for a session or two and then just fall off. I don't know if I just don't have the patience for video games, that willingness to keep going back to that same well time and time again. Mm-hmm. I think the last game I played that I finished was a game that was a downloadable game on Xbox called Inside, which was really, it was a creepy, bizarre game that honestly I kept playing it just because I had to see where it was going to go next.
That's what you do, like the Rock Band games.
That I do, yeah.
Yeah. And we also like the Rock Band games when we get to play them at your place. I'm like your son. I'm more of like the PlayStation. I remember growing up playing PlayStation 2 with my brother, we would do the Lego games.
Yeah.
So we did like Lego Star Wars, and that I think was like an introduction to video games. I remember playing some Finding Nemo game, and I got stuck somewhere, and so I just like gave up. Nintendo 64, great experience there growing up. But yeah, no, I'm like more just on the PlayStation stuff.
I thought Xbox Connect was going to be the biggest innovation where you could just move your body and it was your controller, and that didn't last at all.
It could have been. That should have been so much better.
Was that before the Wii?
No.
Right about the same time, I think.
It was the same generation as the Wii, but so Wii and Xbox 360 hit within a year or so of each other, and then Xbox picked up the Kinect maybe 3 or 4 years into the life cycle of the 360. So yeah, it's too bad motion controlled games didn't, well, as far as controllerless motion control games, because the Wii was such a popular system. Like, I think it was the best selling game system for senior citizens because everyone loved the Wii. Everyone could play the Wii.
Yeah.
You picked up a controller and you swung it around and you did things. It just made sense, which I felt like was a response to older gamers or older players who would pick up an Xbox 360 controller and there's 18 buttons and they don't know what to do, and eventually their avatar on the screen would just take a cyanide capsule instead of putting up with what the player was trying to do. So the Wii just made it so anyone could pick up a controller and play. Yeah,
like it's a super accessible console. Like I remember Wii Sports and Wii Play, like all those mini games. Really liking that. Because I just like wasn't into kind of like the campaign adventure-y type video games back then. But since then, now I am, which has been an interesting development.
Yeah. So I think we've got a kind of a running theme through several of our callers. We had Aaron from Britain asking about RPGs. We had Donnie from Boston asking about Magic cards. Mo asking about video games. We don't talk about it because it's really not our wheelhouse. Our wheelhouse is board games, and that's our passion, and that's what we've kind of built this show around. We hope that if you have interest in any of those topics and you've stumbled upon our podcast, maybe dip your toes in our water and see what a board game looks like every now and then. Hey, one thing we missed out on, James, even though he couldn't be here today, he was really kind enough to send us a riddle.
Oh, it's my favorite part of the show. I love it.
And the good news is, Dwayne, I've already seen the answer to the riddle, and so has Emily. So the riddle is...
And mine was on accident.
Yeah, it's
so mad
totally
at myself.
in your lap to try and figure this out.
Oh.
Yeah, your enthusiasm just went out the door, didn't it? All right. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
In this lavish contest, the stakes are immense. One false move could see you dispense. Bid high or low, but beware of your spend, for lavishness now may cost in the end. Manage your wealth with wisdom and care, or risk losing it all in this grand affair. Special cards twist the game in a flash, halving your wealth or doubling your stash. Balance your fortune with each card you play. Too lavish a bid, and you may lose the day.
Oh, no.
And when I said having, that's a tough word to enunciate. I'm going to say halving
your wealth or doubling your stash.
Okay.
All right.
So
walk us through your thought process.
It's a bidding game. There is money that can be doubled. Sounds like there's some kind of cards. Can anybody verify that I've played this?
No.
Okay.
I will double check.
I own it and have brought it to events, and so have others. So I'm going to say at worst, you've probably seen it.
Okay. So
I played it at Tabletop Day last year.
I'm going to need at Tabletop Day last year.
I don't know if you were in that game, so that might not be helpful. It's all cards.
Okay.
It's from 1995.
Wow. Small box?
Small box game.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty.
Small
the
box,
artwork's
very
great.
pretty. And it's not Skull because we did that last week.
Would you like another run through the riddle?
It's not going to help anything, but let's hear it one more time for the listeners.
Yes. In this lavish contest, the stakes are immense. One false move could see you dispense. Bid high or low, but beware of your spend, for lavishness now may cost in the end. Manage your wealth with wisdom and care, or risk losing it all in this grand affair. Special cards twist the game in a flash, halving your wealth or doubling your stash. Balance your fortune with each card you play. Too lavish a bid, and you may lose the day.
At first I thought you reading it again wouldn't help, but halfway through it, I would actually bet money that I have this answer. Is it High Society?
It is High Society.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding. Good job, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Well, producer saying we don't have any more calls.
Thank God. Can we change that number?
Yeah, let's get on that.
We might need to.
I have no idea how that got out there, but that was it gave us something to talk about today. That was nice. But unfortunately, that means we have to push our regular show off to the next episode. So we'll be back on track for our next episode.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks. I guess we did have a sponsor for this episode. We can thank them. So thanks to the Saturn Corporation, makers of the finest cars right here in Central Tennessee. If you listen hard enough, you can hear the Saturns rolling off the line right now. That's Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. You can catch us on Instagram at Gleeful Meeple Pod, or you can email us at pod@gleefulmeeple.com. Or if you can figure out what our phone number is, go ahead and call that in as well, because that works. Emily, I got both those names right this time.
Yes, you did.
I'm so proud. That's it for this week. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Gleeples.